Hello, my name is Orlondo Otis Hundley, and I am running for mayor of Schenectady, New York.
Perfect. So, first, because I wanted to use this as kind of like an intro for the package today,
Yeah,
your social media videos. I'd
yes.
love to start with a very, I would say, famous phrase for
Mm.
people who are local to the area, people who aren't even local. So, if you don't mind, just give that for me.
Hello, my name is Orlondo Otis Hundley, and I am running for mayor of Schenectady, New York.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
It is very iconic. We've been talking about it upstairs
Thank
for a
you.
little bit. So, when it comes to first deciding to run
Mhm.
for this mayoral race here, 2027,
Mm.
just tell me when you first started thinking about this. What were those initial thoughts?
Um, well, years ago, while I was attending SEC for criminal justice, I was looking at year after year the turnout for elections, and I realized even back then I had a comparable following online just out of the reality that we are in the community. We've always done arts events, we've always been active in athletics, performance, and local business. So when you pull all of that together, you have a real ability to bring people into the process that weren't already in it and don't know how much of an impact that they can make on themselves.
And now, when it comes to running,
Hmm.
first, just on the basic level, just give me the bullet point version of what you're running on when it comes to things you want to improve or change.
Well, I mean, historically, year after year, elections have been so close. And I look back to the Gary v. Roger Hall election, and there was an interview that just sparked my interest where Roger Hall, former president of Union College, was saying about how Metroplex has failed so many of our neighborhoods. And nationally, when you hear people talk about gentrification, I feel like at the beginning of this campaign, when we began to talk about Metroplex and how it's able to gather 50% of the county's sales tax and then spend it on what we consider luxury projects that fail all of our neighborhoods. We can't fund our own gentrification, and people need to be involved in that process of that spending, especially when so many of our neighborhoods look dilapidated.
So then, just give me, I guess, a little bit more detail when it comes to you know, upgrade neighborhoods.
Mm.
Maybe adding to the tax base or some
Mm.
of those other points that you want to either add to or may change.
Well, huge thing. I think that we reach so many people online, and the reality is when we talk about something in Schenectady, Schenectady is older than the country, and it deals with things that across the country that they deal with. And we have so many people in the gig economy when it comes to Uber. Millions of dollars in fees are leaving yearly, and when it comes to localizing any number of businesses and even just supporting our local businesses, when people come here and they overpromise and then they underdeliver, we suffer from that. So our tax base and the people who have called here home, whether you've chosen to retire here or you've grown up here, we are being overpromised and then things are being underdelivered. And that's just on the business end. When it comes to, I mean, even like running as a young black man, you know, young people have gone almost unheard. And when it comes to someone being able to actually articulate what so many of us are going through, the lack of opportunity, the lack of ability to just even, have our voice in the conversation, you have to go around so many institutions. So we've created an opportunity for more people to run, not just in Schenectady, in Troy, and Albany. And it's about how money leaves upstate New York. It's about how big business makes decisions about a region that they never step foot in, and that's what we've been doing.
For people who don't know what Metroplex is or maybe
Mhm.
aren't familiar with it, just give me some background.
It is a development authority that was created in 1998, and since 1998, it has been able to collect 50% of the sales tax revenue. And you can fact check me on this. They've raised $500 million, and they spend it on luxury projects. They give it to big developers when the development that happens is not progress. And the key about this campaign is that development alone is not progress.
And go into that a little bit more when it comes to what you're saying here is kind of the misuse of funds. and I feel like you've kind of already answered this in what you've said, but how would you like those funds that are being seemingly misused or spent towards projects that the community really doesn't want or is using to be used towards maybe, beautifying your neighborhoods or examples like that? How would you like to see that money used?
Well, instead of, large projects and these community centers that, that are community centers, whether you're selling beer or not, whatever you're saying your business is, we are creating spaces that hopefully the community are able to go in. So if we put public dollars towards spaces for residents of Schenectady, they should not be priced out. So it becomes, instead of doing bold strokes that sometimes overpromise, underdeliver, we need to focus on each neighborhood individually, because each neighborhood, each person really does have a different need.
Thank you for that. I have a bit more of a clearer picture. When we talked to the previous candidate yesterday, that Tom Bosco did that interview, he mentioned term limits.
Yeah.
Mayor McCarthy, 4 terms, possibly going on 5 here, if I have that correct. Give me your perspective on term limits and if you think that's appropriate for the mayoral race in Schenectady.
Well, I definitely think that we are I think factually we are the only city in this area without term limits. And when it comes to election reform, I think not only do we need term limits, but we need to consolidate the election cycle of the city councilors. The fact that we are doing these offset election cycles where you elect 4 this year, 3 the next, it makes no sense. And if you actually want a representative body for the people of Schenectady, you need to be electing everyone at once. Ranked choice voting is something that I've always been for on a local level. And there's a huge push coming out of Albany for it, and I think that Schenectady needs to follow suit. I heavily believe in term limits, but not only does the mayor need term limits, so do the city councilors.
And do you have any thoughts in your head right now of what you might impose for a term limit on yourself if you were elected?
2 terms. I would say 2 terms, and it's not about moving on, but it's about the fact that everyone has the right idea for Schenectady and they need the opportunity to do it. And for a long time, when it comes to Gary McCarthy, I think the reality is that Gary has done a job that has been good enough to win election after election. And if you can't provide a vision for Schenectady and you can only turn to a camera and say, time to replace Gary McCarthy, you will never replace Gary McCarthy.
Now, going into more of, I guess, the juicy stuff, if you want to call it that way. Looking through all the reports. So, for example, the biggest one here, which I've known you've had a strong take on this, but the Times-Union has referred to you as a social media personality. You have WAMC, who calls you maybe more kinder of a way, a writer and a community organizer. So, taking those 2 different ways to refer to you as, how do you prefer, or what do you see the news or these outlets, how they should refer to you as a title right now?
I am a resident of Schenectady, and it shouldn't take a title to get any of the things that any one of these candidates are talking about done. You can literally turn to your cell phone camera and say, we need to fill our potholes, we need to fix our sidewalks, we need to listen to the youth, we need to protect our elderly because they built the community that we're now living in. That's what I prefer to be referred to as. And when it comes to all the other things, everything I've done is so isolated. And even in this moment, only thing that so many other people can talk about is their title. I am a resident of Schenectady. How nice is that?
Now, going into your credentials here, what you've done, your schooling, boots on the ground, just give me some of that background information on what you think prepares you for this role of mayor of Schenectady.
Well, I won't speak on the campaigns that I've worked for. I'll allow those politicians to be honest enough about what I've done for them. My first entrance into public speaking and being a voice for Schenectady was when the Board of Education attempted to strip away the athletics and art department while we were in high school. That's something I post quite frequently. Outside of that, my first organizing effort for a political campaign was for Bernie Sanders. And whether you love him or hate him, the reality was We need grassroots campaigns. We need people who are organically connecting with the people that are being affected by the policy that we're hoping to change. And I was one of the largest Bernie organizers in upstate New York, even more so now. Outside of that, I went to SEC for criminal justice. I went to Schenectady High School. I was the patriot. I've spent years organizing for artists, for local businesses. I am the son of a barber, the son of a woman who has done every job underneath the sun. And I have just been able to articulate some of the strife, some of the positives of this area. And I find myself in this position not just because of my skill and my ability alone, but my popularity stems from that I am a part of the community I'm advocating for.
Something that I feel is unique, especially when we look to candidates and people who are even older, is when it comes to the use of social media. From my scrolling, maybe too much scrolling on my end and being active online, but you're very much out there when it comes to being in the community and talking to people and talking to businesses and sharing their stories. So just tell me how social media has played a role in your campaign, getting ready for your campaign, and now, getting that ball rolling.
Well, I will say the first time, there are two accounts that we reserved the username for. One being on TikTok, the Mayor of Schenectady, and I just did that because that is my sense of humor. I had never expected social media and my accounts to reach as many people as they do monthly. My strategy for winning this election was always door to door, person to person. But when you stand on the right things and you stand in the right places, you reach people. And whether you're the Times Union or another candidate, the reality is that you also need to be on social media, because that's where people who are young but getting older by the day and more acclimated to what's going on in this country, in our city, in our state, that's where they're looking for information. So whether we're making people laugh, we're informing people, we're telling them about a business that's been there for years or one that just opened up, social media has allowed us to have a conversation. And if it weren't for my comment section, I frankly don't know what a lot of these politicians would be doing right now.
And with social media as this resource here, you have a tangible number of how many followers you have. That doesn't mean that everybody is maybe a vote or even lives in the Schenectady area. But what is that when it comes to people that you would say are supporting you, or just how many followers you have at this point?
Close to 30,000, but I'll tell you, the reality of it is, you'll be talking to someone, someone will stop you, and they'll be like, are you Orlondo Hundley, or are you Orlando Humphrey, or are you Ronaldo Huntley? And I go, yes. And they go, I watch you all the time. Not everything equates to a follow, but people are tapped in. So it's really, you got to understand what people know about, what people identify with, what people connect with. And it's not that numbers don't matter. They obviously do. But it's actually the connection and the conversation that we've started. Really, I talk to people all ages, and it's even more important to me when people don't know who I am, but they know what I'm talking about. And a lot of people say, because of we've reached so many people online, that I am just a social media personality. But when the reality is that people know about the platform, they know about the vision, they know about the ideas more than they know my name. They can't, but to some people, they know what we're trying to do more than they know my name, and that's what's important to me.
To add on to that, because I completely feel that as somebody who posts my reports all the time, having followers does not equate to the reach that you have. So if you can also add on to that for me, the numbers when it comes to what your accounts are reaching to people.
Millions monthly. I mean, I'm probably one of the most followed people in the capital region, probably top 50 in New York State. It's just what it is. And some people, it's even the Times Union, they'll say that the editor of the Times Union told me that social media doesn't matter, and then they refer to me as a social media personality. And I agree, social media doesn't matter. People matter. What people are looking at, what people are going through, that matters. So we are reaching millions of people monthly, 4 million views minimum, thousands of people. There's not a Walmart I can't walk into. There's not a college campus I can't walk down. Me and my friend Corell were performing at Tulip Fest, and we were rapping, and they go, "Oh my God, is that Orlondo Hundley?" And when I'm rapping, I'm 97 Otis. You know? So it's very funny.
Adding on to, talking about gentrification and some of those other issues that you've talked about, being that you've interviewed people or talked to people in the community and had them in your videos talking about their own issues, rather that be health or what's going on with their businesses or the community as a whole. Just add on to that for me. What are they telling you, or what are you sharing in these stories that resonates with you or just the general population?
And I'll say this, you don't need to run for office to say this. We are paying far too much in rent for some of our families to be poisoned. We are allowing too much money to be sent to large businesses and what I would refer to as corporate socialism. The fact that so many of our business owners are month to month, they are surviving on the margins, and we have large businesses who make these promises when we have actual businesses with such cultural benefit, that have been spaces for people to unwind after a long day of work. Whether it's me talking to parents, whether it's me talking to young people or artists, what people want is more spaces for community. We don't want it to be seasonal. We want it to be timeless. We want an ability to not feel as if we're being overlooked or ignored. And frankly, it's upsetting, not just to me, but so many people, that it took me and my social media account to highlight some of the best of us and the people who have put in the most work. So what I hear from our residents, and not just in Schenectady, but the capital region, upstate New York State, is that we want to feel a part of something. We don't want to be isolated. We want to be able to contribute to our society, and we don't want anyone to be taken advantage of.
Julie, anything you want to add? No? Okay. Just I guess going forward with the mayor title, seems like a pretty big one. Obviously, has an important role. Just as this, from my understanding, this would be your first elected position.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that. Going from mayor. What that means to you. Maybe why your goal is mayor compared to something else that is an elected position, that's maybe on the smaller side of things. Why do you think this is appropriate?
Well, it's not about the mayorship. It's about Schenectady. A lot of people come here and they run in upstate New York and the capital region because they have political ambitions. I am running for mayor of Schenectady, New York, because it is my home. It's where my family lives. It's where my friends live. It's where my community is. It's a place that I want to build up, and I'm one of the few people who can do it in the manner that I am going about it. And we've had the same mayor since 2011. I mean, Jeff Hardy was, he was doing well back then. And it's been a long time, and we have so many politicians who, frankly, only operate in terms of election cycles, and you can use your voice at any point of the year, not just when your name might be on a ballot. So it is not just about the mayorship, and that's why we are, frankly, connecting with people, because some people refer to me as Mr. Schenectady. I love it. I am home. I don't want to say, I'll say it on Channel 6. I kind of already feel like the mayor. And title or not, I'm going to do what I'm doing, because the reality is that we've raised more money for nonprofits, local businesses, and real issues in our community than our own campaign. And that's something that everyone should follow.
Here's something. I think I saw this when I watched that True Filet podcast. Is that the name I say that?
Yes,
right?
True Filet.
Yes.
True Filet.
So I think in there you mentioned the new Schenectady branding.
Mm-hmm.
And
Took it.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure what you said is it's really not being used when it comes to online and social media the way that you see that it could.
Yeah.
So comment on that for me when it comes to painting Schenectady in a certain light and using that all those resources it's being spent to its potential.
I think that $250,000 could have been better spent than on billboards. I think the reality is that so many of the people leading our city in this region, when they do a campaign like that, they forget so many of the people that it felt like an eviction notice to. When you say New Schenectady, when there's still so much to be done. So when I hear Neil Golub and the people involved in that campaign say that it was a social media campaign, and then I just go on my phone and I see that no one secured any of the usernames, I see it as an opportunity to showcase what a new Schenectady could be. And it's same as the old one. It's the people who built it. It's the businesses that have been here. It's it's so beautiful. So when we were able to secure those usernames, and it's very similar to securing the Mayor of Schenectady username, it's about what you do with it. Anyone can say this is a new Schenectady. Many politicians have stood in front of those billboards, but when you Google it, there's one smile that comes up.
Now I have to ask, because I've seen the post, I shared the post.
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite journalist in the capital region?
Niemra, and then who? Oh my God, was it Kento? I feel like it was Kento.
I couldn't tell you. It's been a little while. I remember I saw it and I felt very honored. So
Yeah,
thank you
well,
for
well,
that.
and I'll say this about that: the way that you're a young face, it's so important in this moment to see you be a human and conduct yourself with such class. And I when I asked you, you grew up here. I'm like, that's what we need. We need people to tell the stories of this area from our perspective. And then also, I stumbled upon your gaming channel, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a real one. So yes, no, there are many reasons why you made the top 3. There are many reasons, and you never needed to cover me.
Well, as you know, we covered another candidate yesterday, and I was like, wait, they haven't reached out to you yet. And I thought, wow, it's a perfect chain of events. Do one after the other. And I know there's a third, so maybe we'll reach out to him as well.
Can't wait to see that.
So, yes, thank you very much. It's nice to see, too. Obviously, like you said, you do rapping. I play my games.
Yes.
Photographer is very familiar with my gaming adventures. We got to have fun and also do serious stuff.
Yes.
You need a break.
No,
a break here and there.
And it hits it when someone who you can see express themselves locks in and tells you, hey, we need to do something about this. It hits way harder. Yeah.
Now, I think I'm out of questions finally, but at this point, if there's anything you want to add that you think I missed or is important, it's open mic for you.
No, hello Schenectady, hello Mom, hello Dad, hey Todd, hi Corel, Josh, I'll see you later. Avion, I know you're doing well. If I forgot anybody, old school shout outs, I don't know. Hi Jenny. All right, yeah, we're good.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for listening.
Of course.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Awesome.
All good.